I'm 26 years old and I've built financial stability and I have a career in big tech that I really enjoy. All things that I'm super grateful for, but none of it would have been possible without the help of my friends. In this video, I want to explain why your friendships matter way more than you think. And if you stick around to the end, I will be giving you 3 lessons that I have personally learned about cultivating long-term success-driven friendships. The first lesson I've learned about friendship, and probably the one that's going to have the most impact on you, is that you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. You are constantly being shaped by your environment, the content you consume, the words you say, even the thoughts that are in your brain, but most importantly, the people who you surround yourself with. That's why it is crucial to cultivate friendships that lift you up and support you rather than drag you down and hold you back. Take a second and think about your personal friend group. Have these people shaped your life in a meaningful way? Because I know for 100% fact, my friends have. While I was in university, I had a group of 10 friends that were all also studying engineering. I can't remember when we all became friends or when we eventually named the group chat Bean, but if we fast forward to today, every single one of those members of the friend group all make well over 6 figures, and majority of them work in the States, spread out across different tech companies like Microsoft, Google, Apple, Facebook, and a couple of them are also very high up in some startups. Now, it's important to know that I don't think monetary success is the number one factor that you should be considering when you're looking at your friends, but for the purposes of this video and this point in particular, I think that it illustrates how important and how impactful it is to have friends that are successful. And I think it's pretty insane once you consider the fact that all of us went to school in Canada and didn't go to Waterloo. And when I really sit down and try to think about how or why we got to this outcome, like how all of us became so successful at such a young age, the only conclusion that I can come up with is all of us were feeding off of each other's hard work and ambition. But ambition and high talent often comes as a double-edged sword. I think in a lot of high pressure and competitive environments, it can almost feel like you and your peers are competing in a zero-sum game, which is not the case. And this mentality can often lead to bitterness, resentment, jealousy, or at least that's how it manifested in me. Which leads me to the second lesson that I've learned, which is you need to celebrate wins without comparison. You probably have a lot of friends that you can call when you're down, but how many friends can you call when you have great news to share? I was watching TikTok the other day, and this quote from Simon Sinek really stood out to me. We always talk about close friends as the person you would call if you were ever in need. But I think that there's an even closer level of friendship, which is when you can call someone when something amazing has happened. And if you had told anyone else, they'd feel like you were bragging. But with that one friend, they have unbridled joy with you and for you. And when I really thought about it and looked back on my own life, I realized a lot of the times when I was younger, I was not that friend. And a lot of the times I was jealous of my friends and their success. By the 3rd year of university, things got pretty serious career-wise. My friends and I would spend the majority of the time like locked in the library, just studying Leacodes, mock interviewing, and just applying to jobs. At the time, it felt like the majority of good internships in Canada, and then on top of that, the highly coveted US internships were only reserved for students from high-ranking schools like Waterloo or U of T. And we went to Mac, which is probably everyone's 3rd or 4th choice if you're applying from Ontario. So when I got an offer for a 16-month internship at AMD, I took it without even thinking. With my reasoning being, since it was a 16-month internship, a return offer was locked, just assuming that I did well. All my other friends got internships as well, nothing super crazy, until someone got an internship at Meta in the Bay. Now the mentality has completely changed for everyone. It was like, if they can do it, why can't I? And then another person got a big US internship, then another, and then another. And I felt like I was stuck in my 16-month internship, watching my friends get a bunch of prestigious offers and going to the States. And if I'm completely honest, I was super jealous at that time. That jealousy ended up fueling me, and I started rage applying for jobs and grinding LeetCode like crazy, and ended up leaving my job at AMD halfway through in order to secure 2 big tech internships. And one of those internships ended up converting to a full-time offer in the US, which is where I am right now filming this video. And while at the time, the way that I handled those emotions obviously netted out for me pretty well, but as I've gotten older and matured a little bit, I've realized that these feelings of jealousy only work in the short term and will not fuel your long-term success. And more importantly, is super toxic and super cringe. Comparison is the thief of joy. And I think it can be difficult to completely process these emotions, especially when you're in school and you're younger. At that time, it feels like those internships and those moments are everything in your whole entire career. Now, one thing that's helped me overcome this as I've gotten older is realizing that life and your career is not a zero-sum game, meaning that your win does not mean that I have to lose. And that was something that I was only really truly able to grasp and understand once I had a full-time career and was able to zoom out. So to reiterate my point, I think in order to be a good friend or even a great friend, you need to be able to celebrate your friends' wins without having any type of comparison. And a big strong emphasis on the word you, Because at the end of the day, all of these things have to come from you, which leads me to the last lesson that I've learned is that you attract what you put out. And if you want to cultivate meaningful relationships and meaningful friendships, it has to come from within and has to come from you first. If you want great friends, you yourself have to be a great friend. If you're bitter, jealous, resentful, and you see friendships as purely transactional, you are going to meet people and surround yourself with people who are like that. But if you're genuinely kind, supportive, and you are willing to help people without any expectation in return, then you will attract, or more importantly, create a circle of people around you who think the same way. Does that mean that you should just cut out all of your friends that don't fit the narrative or who are not successful? No, I don't think so. While I do think that there are some circumstances where particular environments are not salvageable, I don't think they should go out seeking friendships to create the dream team of friends. I know my friend group certainly didn't start off like that. We were all super chill guys that were nice enough to hang around with who happened to be really hardworking. And I realized what I have is probably very unique and probably hard to replicate, but I truly believe the way that you approach friendships has a long-term and meaningful impact on your success. That's why I've been working on making my YouTube channel a place like that, as well as creating a free Discord community where we talk about personal finance, software engineering, investing, etc. To wrap it up, these are the 3 personal lessons that I've learned about friendships. Number 1, you are the average of your 5 closest friends. Surround yourself with people who challenge and inspire you, and their habits will rub off on you. Number 2, celebrate wins without comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy, and jealousy will ruin friendships. Your friend's success does not take anything away from you. There is plenty of opportunity out there for everybody. And number 3, it starts with you. Be the type of friend that you would want to have. Support others, be kind, and give without expecting anything in return. And if you're curious on how my manager reacted when I told her I was going to quit my internship halfway through, you can watch this video right here where I go over it.